I stand in the doorway of the supervisor's office, helmet under my arm and lunch bag in my hand. You wanted to see me, sir? Kimber, yes. Higgins glances up, a pale, sweaty man who looks like he's never lifted a torch in his life. I saw from your file that you've been classified 4F. Yes, sir. I hold out my left hand. They didn't want a 9-fingered soldier. Christ. He flinches at the knotted scar tissue along the outside of my hand. What happened? Crushed, I say briefly. During my early days on the breaker, my soft hands were so torn up from the work that my fingertips bled, and my mother had to clean and bandage them every day until they hardened. I'm sorry for you, he says, but it's good news for us. You're one of the best we have, Kimber, and the coming weeks and months are going to require the best. Even though shipyard work will be a reserved occupation, many of our men are going to want to serve in a more direct way. Higgins looks at me straight on. Do you have a family? Well, yes. We all have families, he says. I mean a wife, kiddies. No, I say, no wife, no kids. The view from the small office window is mostly blocked by another building, but I can see the edge of a ship and men swarming over it. That's where I should be, not talking to this useless man who's never done a hard day's work. I only ask because everyone here will be putting in long hours, so I was going to warn you to explain it to the missus. I share a place with my cousin. That's the story we tell, anyway. But he's joined up, so I'll likely move back into my mother's house for the duration. It's closer to the streetcar, and she'll understand my hours better than a landlady. She'll be pleased to have me back, especially with Toby gone. And although she'll lament my hours, she'll understand better than fussy Mrs. Frobisher, who's never kept a plate warm for someone in her life. That's good, then. He peers short-sightedly at me. I meant what I said, Kimber. You're one of our best. I wouldn't want to lose you to some other type of war work. You won't, sir. I often wish I could find more convenient work than the yard, but I can't think of anything more meaningful right now than to build ships for my country. I've never given much thought to being patriotic, but when they interrupted the movie that we were watching to break the news, I felt a surge of protective anger I could explain in no other way. Dismissed, I head down and find a corner of the yard where I can eat my sandwich in peace and have a few moments of fresh air before going back inside for another 6 hours. There's no silence in the yard, and even less inside a welder's helmet. I've taken to singing to drown out the noise. My voice is terrible, but since I can barely hear myself, no one else is likely to complain. Instead of going to dance class today, the way I wanted to, I picked up an extra shift at Woolworth's because I can use my employee discount to get a few last-minute gifts. I hope my family knows what I'm giving up for them. Mama said we're pulling in this year because we don't know what the future will bring. But isn't that even more reason to buy presents? If the future is terrible, at least we'll have pretty things to cheer us up. They're hard to shop for, though. Once upon a time, we'd have been happy with anything. But now that we have some money, not enough for new tap shoes, apparently, we don't have to wait until we'd be grateful for anything, and so we're a lot pickier. The only easy people in the whole family are Dan and Pop, because Dan always wants film, and Pop will appreciate anything he's given. Grace isn't hard either, though she's not going to get what she really wants. The Navy won't give her Toby, and she's not getting Flora either. In the end, I select a folder of Judy Garland paper dolls, which I can look through for dance costume ideas. Pearl always wants books, but she has so many already that I wouldn't know where to start. Aunt Claire buys her a diary each Christmas, so that's out. With all the writing she's doing, though, she'll need more notebooks. I add 2 composition books to the pile and continue on. Aunt Claire and Mama might be sisters, but they're as different as can be. Which isn't surprising, going by me, Grace, and Pearl. We don't even look related. I choose lavender drawer sachets for Aunt Claire. Her drawers are full of frilly things that deserve to smell as nice as they look. Mama is the hardest of all. If anyone asks what she wants, she says for her children to be healthy. Which is all well and good, but you can't buy that at the 5 and 10. Finally, I settle on a tube of hand cream. It smells like roses, which she likes, and her skin gets so dry from handling so much fabric. At least I know she'll use it. Pop and Uncle Harry get bottles of Aqua Velva because they shave. I don't know what else to get them, and like Mama's lotion, I know they'll use it. a model airplane for Teddy, who loves building things. My brothers are another matter. Year after year, everyone gets them identical gifts. But Mama already sent a box to Toby in Virginia filled with candy bars and the kind of cookies that won't crumble in the mail. I snag another bottle of aftershave for George, which won't go over well because Mama's trying her best to keep him young, even though he told us the minute he began shaving. I lug my purchases to the register at the end of my shift and hand a good part of my hard-earned salary back to Miss Pynchon, the head sales clerk. She looks down her nose at me. "Leaving the shopping a little late, aren't you, Thelma?" "I pay for my dance lessons first," I tell her. "What's left over is for Christmas." Dance lessons before family? Her dark red lipstick has spread into the fine wrinkles around her mouth. I smile, not because I like her, but because she doesn't know how silly she looks. "Always." Miss Pynchon, the girls call her Miss Python, seems to think that being head sales clerk at Woolworth's is something to aspire to. She would never understand my dreams. Maybe I should be more like Grace and mail useless letters to Santa telling him to make me a famous dancer. Sweat gathers on my neck and under my arms as I trudge home from the Reading terminal loaded down with bags. I should have taken Claire up on her offer to come shopping with me. Except with Claire, we wouldn't have just gone to the terminal. We'd have ended up in the stores with crowds of Christmas shoppers, and I'd have run screaming out into the street. You couldn't get me into Wanamaker's or Snellenberg's if you offered me a brand new $100 bill. The people who shop for food are different. They leave things late because they want quality, not vegetables that have been sitting in the bin since Thanksgiving. And I enjoy purchasing from the Pennsylvania Germans with their accents and archaic clothes. Their baked goods are far better than anything I turn out of my oven. It's still a novelty to be able to buy everything we need without counting pennies. Daniel and I did our best to provide at Christmas, but our money never ran to the kind of meal that I'll prepare with my girls this Christmas Eve, not even in easier times. My bags are filled with carrots, potatoes, onions, and greens, some apples for a last-minute pie. Gottschall promised to deliver the turkey tomorrow afternoon. I don't back down from a challenge, but I'm not so headstrong that I'll willingly carry a 20-pound bird across town and then figure out where to store it. As I walk, I review the menu in my mind, grateful that I'm not responsible for the sort of meal my sister will put on for Christmas Day. She has Esther Hedges to do the cooking, but she'll do more herself than an ordinary wealthy woman would. But then, Claire isn't ordinary, and I bless her for it. At the corner of 12th and Spruce, I run into Thelma, similarly burdened. She kisses my cheek and adds one of my smaller bags to her arm, and we continue our walk home together.